in. Hi, I'm Chris.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Nice meeting you. How you doing?
I'm doing okay today.
That's good. So what brought you in today?
My parents sent me in here. Basically, they gave me an ultimatum. They told me to choose to get help or to go to juvie again. So I'd rather not go to juvie.
Alrighty. Well, real quick, before we start the rest of the session, I just want to let you be aware of a couple things. First things first, whatever's said in here will stay in here. It won't go anywhere else unless you seem to be a threat to yourself or to someone else. Just kind of basic confidentiality rules and regulations. And I want you to feel safe in here. I want you to feel like you can talk about anything and everything in here without judgment, without prejudice, without anything, alright? So speak freely whenever you want to, say whatever's on your mind. Just remember, keep that in mind. If you make comments about certain things or things like that, if it's to the point where I might need to report it, I have to do so by law.
Okay.
You agree with that?
Yes.
Alrighty. Do you have any questions before we start?
No.
Alrighty. So you told me that your parents kind of reported you to juvie because you were doing bad in school and you started doing drugs. Is that right?
Mhm.
Alright. So let's start there. When did all this start?
The drugs started probably close to a year ago whenever I started working. So, probably just a few months after that, I started hanging out with some of my coworkers, and it just led from there.
Okay. So, the people that introduced you to the drugs, are they coworkers? Are they friends from school?
Yes, they're coworkers.
Okay. So, were you going to school at the same time as you were working, or?
Yes, I was.
Are you in any sports?
I used to play softball, but I don't anymore. Ever since I started working, I just really haven't had that much time, so I just kind of laid off.
Okay. Did you love playing softball?
Yeah, I really did like it.
So it's kind of hard for you to.
Yeah.
I understand. So, to go to school and to work, that must be hard, right?
Yeah, it is really difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Just fitting everything in and having time for both.
Is your school doing okay, or did it start going downhill when you started working?
Yeah, it did start going downhill when I started working, just trying to fit everything in. Plus, I started hanging out with these people more, so it kind of pushed it behind.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about doing drugs earlier, right?
Mhm.
What type of drugs do you use?
Right now I'm using marijuana and meth. It started out with marijuana before I ever started working or anything like that, probably about 2 years ago. And I used to do it just a little bit, and then it started escalating more, and then when I started hanging out with my friends, they introduced me to meth, and I started smoking meth, and then now I've escalated to shooting it up just to get a stronger high.
How often do you use both meth or weed? Do you do it by yourself?
I do it by myself sometimes now. It used to not be like that, but sometimes when I'm just alone in my room, just don't have anything else to do.
So kind of when you're bored or when you're stressed out, or is it just whenever you want to do it?
Just whenever I want, really.
And what made you start using that? I know you mentioned that you started doing it with your friends, but was there other stressors or things that were going on in your life maybe that you started using?
Well, me and my parents, we just don't mesh anymore, and that's really been stressing me out. And of course, the workload from school and from work, it's just stress to me.
Right, and that's relatable, work and school.
Yeah.
And you said you were how old?
I'm 16.
16. Wow, that must be hard.
Mhm.
Are you the only child?
I actually have 3 sisters. So.
Are you the middle, youngest, oldest?
I'm right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
So mom and dad's kind of hard on you, or?
Yeah, they're harder on me because my sister, she's not doing too well right now. My older sister, so they're trying to be a little bit harder on me.
Okay. So when you go through these situations and you're really stressed out, is your only alternative to relieve those stressors the drugs, or is it, sports, Exercise?
It used to be sports. Whenever I still played, it would be a lot of fun just to go out and just play a game of softball. But now it's just gotten to the point where it's just work. So
Yeah. You said you and your parents don't get along. What don't you get along with? Like all the time, sometimes, and what about?
um, really we just argue. They try and just stand over my shoulder the whole time. They try and nitpick everything and just pick apart everything, and I just can't stand it. You know, I'm really independent. I want to do things on my own, stuff like that.
So whenever you have those problems with your parents, do you instantly go to the drugs, or how does that transition go?
Honestly, I've really been trying to just sit down and think about it, but the more that I think about it,
Right.
the more I want to go and just use.
And am I the first person that you've come to about using the drugs, or I know your parents know, but is there anyone else that you've told that you use besides your friends?
No, just my friends, and honestly, my parents wouldn't even know if they didn't find out.
And how do your parents feel about that, do you think?
Well, they obviously don't like it since I've been in trouble for it before, but I really just can't help it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you don't want to be in juvie again, right? So have you thought about ways to try and stay out of juvie? I mean, because I'm here to help you, try and find the decisions and the course of actions to go about that. But have you thought of any on your own?
Not really. I'm trying to turn like my attitude around and just start being more positive about things and thinking things through a different way. But it's just really hard for me to just stop and think without getting mad and just wanting to go use.
Okay.
Because that just immediately relieves my stress.
What's some of the main triggers, like that instantly make you want to go use?
Definitely when my parents yell at me for something that I don't think is wrong, but they think is wrong, and sometimes when I'm at work and I'm just having a stressful day and everybody's just yelling and things like that. So that's what makes me want to.
Yeah. So before the drugs, did you find yourself being more aggressive towards your family members, or did you have a better relationship with them before all that, or was it the same?
Well, I did have a better relationship with him when I was younger, but I think since I'm older, I'm finding out my own ways of doing things, and they just my ways and my parents' ways just don't go together.
Yeah, so they kind of give you a hard time, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. So, does your sisters know anything about what's going on with you? Do they give you a hard time, or?
They don't know anything about it, but I don't want them to know because they're younger and they don't need to know.
Right. So, do you think, in your opinion, that it's worth your time coming here, or is it just because like you said earlier, you want to avoid juvenile, right?
Yeah, I do want to avoid juvie, but I would also like to start using less.
So you want to get help?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, that's a great thing. You gotta want it for yourself. You gotta get those things back that you once had. Well, do you have any ideas how you can go about that?
I really don't know. I don't. That's why I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out what I could do. I mean, I've noticed how much I've changed since I've started using them, but it's just the things that stress me out in my life make me not want to. So I just have to, I guess, figure out a way to deal with that first.
I've heard you say the word change a lot when we've been talking. Is that something that you handle well or not so well?
Well, my parents have moved around a lot, and I've changed high schools a lot, so I'm pretty good at dealing with change just because of what I've been through before. So I think I handle it pretty well.
So it's just really stress, or?
Yeah, it's stress.
Okay. Did you used to have any outlets besides just softball? Maybe, TV shows or friends or things that you did as a family?
Me and my family used to have these family movie nights. My dad would like record shows on TV, and we would all sit down and watch them together. And I'm not really there for that anymore.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, I do miss it. I think about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should tell him, like, hey, let's have more of that.
Yeah.
That could be a change, a
Mhm.
starter. I think you're on the right path right now. I want to hear some more of your ideas as to how you can go about things. Because, change comes from you. If you want it, you got to do it. So I like what you said, that you would want to do that more. What's some other things that you would want to do some more with your family that you don't usually do anymore?
Well, I have two younger sisters, and I don't get to see them as much anymore because I'm working and I'm at school and I have friends that want to see me, and it's just really hard to balance all that out and be able to see my family too.
Is family important to you, or?
Yes, family is really important to me.
Yeah, would you say it's as important as your friends or schools, or just as important?
Well, I mean, it's just as important. It's pretty even.
Yeah. So, do you think that maybe you can make time for them? For
I
things
could.
to do?
I could.
Yeah, because I feel like your family is a really big part of your life, as from what I've understood so far, and that you kind of want to spend more time with them, but maybe you feel isolated, because I know you said you felt isolated before earlier, and that could be a great way to go about changing that situation. Include yourself into family time, movie times with the family. Maybe go to dinner. So other things like at theme parks or water parks or amusement parks that you like to go to as a kid?
Yeah, I have an aunt that lives really close to one of the amusement parks around here, and we used to go stay with her, and then the next day, like, go to the theme park, and it would be a really fun time.
Okay, awesome. So what you're saying is that you want to change. You want to be able to spend more time with your family. You want to be able to hang out with your families more, and you want to stop using drugs primarily, right? So you've come up with some really good ideas so far in this first session, which I'm really excited to explore more with you about. Maybe before next session, you could work on maybe getting into another softball league or a softball team, and you and your dad and your family sit down and decide what movies next you all want to do the family movie night with, and maybe plan over the summer to go to a water park like Dollywood or Kentucky Splash or Kings Island, something like that, and then build in time for your family. Does that seem like something you would be willing to do?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to spend more time with my family and definitely use less. So
That's awesome.
It sounds great.
Awesome. Well, I cannot wait to see you at our next session. And I can't wait to hear about all the good things, hopefully, that you're going to come back with. So I will see you next session.
Okay.
And it was a great talking to you for the first time. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks.